All right, so I had somebody ask me about a Voronoi diagram problem. So basically, we've got a rectangle. We're looking at landing platforms for helicopters. And so the the way that it works in this particular problem is we're looking at the area between 0 and 10 and 0 and 8 on the positive axis, and we've got a couple points. So point A is 2, 2. That's point A. And point B is 2, 6. Point C is 8, 6. And point D is 8, 4. And so, with any of these Voronoi diagram problems, the question is, how do you split up the region into little sections where each section is closest to each of those given points? So part A just asks us to construct a Voronoi diagram. And anytime you have to construct a Voronoi diagram, what you're doing is finding perpendicular bisectors. And they were really nice on this problem because there's some horizontal line and two vertical lines. And so when we do our perpendicular bisectors, perpendicular is just from horizontal to vertical and from vertical to horizontal. So what I'll do is I will put some of the midpoints on there because remember, perpendicular means right angle, bisector means it hits at the midpoint. So the midpoint between A and B is going to be 2 comma 4. And I got that because the x value has to stay at 2, and then the y value needs to be halfway between 6 and 2. So 6 plus 2 is 8. Divide that by 2. You get 4. Similarly, along the top, if I do 2 plus 8, I get 10. Cut that in half, I get 5. 6 and 6, the midpoint is going to remain at 6. Over on the right side, the x value is going to be 8. The y value is going to be 5 because that's halfway between 6 and 4. Last one's a little bit harder, but you can just think of it as two separate problems. Halfway between 2 and 8 means 2 plus 8 is 10. Divide by 2, you get 5. Look at the y values. 2 plus 4 is 6. Divide by 2 is 3. And you can see that those are the 4 different midpoints. So then what we're going to do is go perpendicular through those midpoints. So I'll do the vertical line and the two horizontal lines first. On the left side, horizontal line would be y equals 4. You can see that y equals 4 draws a horizontal line because every point on that line has a y value of 4. Along the top, I want to say x equals 5 because every point along that vertical line has an x value of 5. Along the right side, I want to say y equals 5 because every point along that horizontal line has a y value of 5. The last one I'm going to do a little bit of work on because it's at an angle. So first, what I'm going to do is find the slope between here and there. So the slope, I can take the y value, 4 minus 2, over the x values, 8 minus 2. So that gives me 2 over 6, which is 1/3. So now that's the slope of the original line segment. I want to find a perpendicular slope, so I do the opposite reciprocal. So my perpendicular slope is -3 over 1, which is just the whole number, -3. So then I can use point slope form to write an equation that goes through the midpoint with a slope of -3. So I'm going to do that over here in the equation editor. Let's get this out of the way. There we go. So what's my midpoint? My midpoint is 5 comma 3. The y value is 3. So I start out with y minus 3. My perpendicular slope is -3. X value is 5. And look at that. It goes exactly through the uh, the midpoint there. So that's the perpendicular bisector. Okay. So then what this allows us to do is to cut up the space into a Voronoi diagram. So now we have all of our perpendicular bisectors. So what you want to think about is, what are the zones that we have just created? So let's see. I'm using a different color or a different type of drawing tool, so it's a little wonky, but 2 comma 2 was one of my original points, and everything that is below this purple line and to the left of this blue line will go to 2 comma 2. Oops. So I think I need to hit that. There. So all of this will go to the red zone. And in the textbook, they only have you looking at the positive x and y values. That's why I'm not going below the x's. So this looks like red zone. Then let's do the blue zone. So 2 comma 6, this is point B, is in the blue zone. And actually, I can go beyond this blue line because I'm above the purple line as well. And so I don't need to, the blue line, the diagonal line, really relates 8 comma 4 and 2 comma 2. I don't need to worry about it here. And let's go to the green zone. So the green zone is going to be to the right of the vertical line and above the red line, like this. And then the last one, we'll do the purple zone. Okay, there we go. The purple zone will be like this. So I think that looks pretty good. So that's the Voronoi diagram. Okay, so then the next part, a neighboring team asks whether the point B, so B is the top left corner, 2 comma 6. This said, if the team is currently covering a smaller area than at least 2 of the other medical teams. Okay. So we have to find the perpendicular bisector of AD and the line y equals 4. Okay. So y equals 4 and AD, we could find that algebraically, or we can find that just by clicking on the intersection here. So that looks like, let's erase a little bit so I can see where that is. So I can find this algebraically, or we can just click on it because we're using Desmos. 4.6, 4.6 comma 4, 4 and 2/3 comma 4. And you can find that, by the way, just by taking y equals 4 and plugging it in right there. And if you solve for the x value, you'll get 4 and 2/3. So then we need to find the area of these different cells here. Okay. So let's draw this back in there. So this part was purple, and then this part was blue. Oops. Blue right down there. Great. And so if we want to find the area of it, the green area is probably the easiest to find because it's just a rectangle. So the green area goes from, what is this? X equals 5, and the end point is 10, so it's a width of 5 and a height of also 5. So the green area is 25. The blue area the blue area goes 5 steps over, and it goes 6 steps up, so that makes 30. Then the red area we can split up into a rectangle and then this triangle here. So that triangle looks like it's 1 by, let's see, 1 by 4, and this is 5 by 4. So we have 20 for the rectangle because that's 4 times 5, plus 2 more for the triangle. Half of 4 times 1 gives me 22. And then, oh, I made a mistake earlier. Let me fix that. The top of the picture in the textbook only goes up to 8. It doesn't go up to 10. So I'll go fix my top 2 calculations in a second here. So let's go back to the blue one here. It's not 5 by 6. It's only 5 by 4. So this isn't 30. This is only 20. And the green one isn't 5 by 5. It's 5 by 3 because it only goes from 5 up. So that's actually 15. And then the purple one is the rest of it. So we've got 20 for the blue, 15 for the green, 22 for the red. So what I'm going to do is start with the whole region, 10 by 8, and just subtract away the other pieces. So that'd be down to 60, down to 40, down to 38, 28, down to 23. And so what did they say? It's okay for B to help out if it's smaller than at least 2 of the other ones. And it looks like the blue is smaller than the purple, and it's smaller than the red, and so it will be able to help out. All right, so thanks for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions.